Hello.
Hello.
The reason there are two of us is because we're both going to be teaching this series of lessons, and it's all about slide guitar, or more specifically electric slide guitar. We're going to be covering a lot of ground here. We're going to be covering vibrato, the position of the slide, all your basic techniques such as muting, as well as open tunings, the open tunings of open E and open G, and some standard tuning slide as well. And we're going to be teaching you solos, as well as some really cool licks that you can incorporate into your own playing. We're going to be teaching you some solos that will kind of further add to your vocabulary of licks, if you like. They're going to be largely blues-based. So we're going to be playing around 12-bar blues progressions in the keys of E and G.
And we're using two backing tracks, one for each tuning, and they will be underneath the videos, or you can find them on the backing tracks page. So you can learn the solos and play along to your heart's content.
So without further ado, let's get tuned up and we'll get started with the first lesson. Okay, so before we actually play any slide guitar at all, we need to talk about the slide itself. Now, there are various slides out there on the market. I've got just a couple with me today. These. One is a glass slide, one is a brass slide. Glass, glass. Now, it's all really down to personal preference. I'm a very, very recent convert to brass. Once you've had brass, you never go back to glass, as this old saying goes. But that's mainly because I think it gives me more sustain. We'll talk about the technique in a little while, but the idea of slide is that you're not actually pressing down on the strings. That's one main kind of principle. And I find with brass that you don't need to push in as much. You kind of need to put a little bit of pressure on glass to get sustain. Only a tiny bit. There's not really much in it, but this is quite a heavy. This is a heavy brass slide, and it's probably designed for use on the third finger. This is another thing as well. You'll see slide players, some will use their fourth finger, put the slide on their fourth finger, some will use their third, some will even use their second. Again, that's just down to personal preference. One of the benefits of using your fourth finger is that you've got these three fingers free to play chords if you so wish, but you can also do that if you've got the slide on your third finger. So again, that's personal preference. I think Nick uses use your third finger, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah. So Nick uses his third finger. I use my fourth. So you know, it's just about getting used to it and you know, just seeing which you prefer. You've got another brass slide, haven't you? That I can show off, like a smaller one. I just want to show you some of the differences. So this is your brass one. This is glass. Again, they come in different thicknesses. These are both pretty thick. This is Nick's brass slide. This is mine.
I've got skinny fingers.
He's got skinny fingers, but he has used it on a third finger. I can't actually get it on my third. So, I mean, what I would recommend is just experiment. You might annoy your local music shop owner if you're kind of going in and trying different thicknesses of slides and stuff, but someone will let you somewhere along the line. The other one I didn't show you was chrome. Now, I haven't got a chrome slide here, personally, because I'm not really a big fan of the chrome slide. But you've got grass? Yeah, you've even got grass slides. You've got brass, glass, chrome is another option. There are different thicknesses, obviously. Now, I quite like to be able to see the end of my fourth finger, because that helps you gauge your pitching. So that's another thing to consider is the length of it. Because you're not going to be kind of barring all the way across the fretboard all the time. So that's the first thing to consider is, you know, try out a few different varieties. You might have friends that have some slides. If not, just get one from your local music shop. You know, take a punt on it. I would recommend brass as a starter, really. Over time, you'll find it's like picks and string gauges. You know, over time you'll find your preference and the one that you kind of naturally gravitate towards. I'm rambling now, so I imagine that you're keen to actually start playing some actual slide guitar rather than listen to me my verbal diarrhea. But so let's have a look at the technique.